close because of financial constraints. And now you let it close again after it took 5 years to bring it back up to playability? Are you kidding me? This is unacceptable as a taxpayer because we have to continuously spend money to bring it back. Now it's revenue generating. So would you all please do something with the golf course and something with our children this summer? Thank you. And I'm not talking about jobs. They need activities as well. What are you going to do with the kids that are 7 to 13? They need something to do too.
All right,
thank you.
You're welcome. Adolph Kendall.
Good evening, Mayor, and to the board and citizens that are here. I bring you greetings from President Tony Preckwinkle and the Cook County Board of Commissioners, and I believe Monica Gordon. The President, although she cannot be here this evening, want to make sure that you are aware that she's grateful of the relationship and the good operating relationship that she has with the mayor, with your administrator, and with the board. And we've been able to get a lot of things done in partnership and grants that we've been able to award to University Park, and we want to continue to do that because our goal is to make a difference in the lives of the residents, and in order to get that done, we can only get it done by working with the administration, the board, and the city administrators to implement the grants and plans and visions by working together in terms of Cook County, the board, and the president, and your commissioners. We also have a Justice Advisory Council grant that's just come available that's due on the 1st, that if you have any not-for-profit organizations within your boundaries that could apply for, they start off at about $100,000, and we're looking to work with those new organizations that are under capacity, that are looking to build up, who have an operating budget under $1 million, and so they could be awarded anywhere from $100,000 or more to them, who are providing services for the next 2 years for returning citizens within your community. And so it's part of our holistic way of addressing violence prevention within our communities. I mean, the best way to prevent violence is with a job, is with training and offering services. And this is but one of the way. There are a couple of other grants, and I will share them with the mayor and with Elizabeth, who will share with the council. And I just want to thank you for the operating relationship and the good work you guys are doing in this village.
All right, and thank you so much. And give our best regards to Madam President as well.
I will do just that, and I recorded it so she'll hear it.
All right.
But on August the 20th, as you know, on the 19th is when they have the DNC. The convention will be here, and so we're extending an offer to have some of your members from the village to attend a special event that we're having down near the convention, and I will send you and Elizabeth the details to share with your trustees, and so they are welcome to come down and be with us.
Looking forward to it.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Madam, you got one? Oh, yeah, I got the full packet.
Deborah J. Stroud.
Good evening. Can everyone hear me? Good evening, Mayor, Clerk, Board, those present, those viewing. I'm chock full of information tonight to pass on. This Saturday, First Baptist Church, University Park, will be hosting our Juneteenth celebration. Please come join us. Also, in reference to what Trustee Sonia Jenkins Bell had mentioned, University Park Library. We know, we see, we want the children of the community to start attending the library. We have so many different items occurring. We have gardening in containers, We have backyard camping. And next month, we're going to have our mini Ravinia that so many of you attend. This year, again, we'll be taking children to the Windy City Tall Ship trip. It's free to the children. Make sure they start coming to the library. In order to get a library card, they must be accompanied by an adult. So please start sending these little ones that are out and about, doing all the basketball shooting in the street. So many of them on my block, they do move out the way when they see the cars, but some of them are so short, they're shorter than me. So I can't see all of them. But we have so many different items that occur, and there is line dancing on Tuesdays. So some of us that need to move some of those limbs, come on out and move them. Also, until University Park gets our senior community center or youth center, Moni right now has opened a senior community cafe. I attended their grand opening, ribbon cutting, and it was awesome and fantastic. I still remember the food that they served because they have partnered with Meals on Wheels. Trustee Brooks, you smiling because I'm talking about your church, huh? Okay. Same thing with Trustee Thompson. Now, there is an application that needs to be filled out because this is also partnering with the Illinois Department of Aging. So they've got to get those numbers counted. But, oh, and also, your church, again, is having a Juneteenth Freedom Day on June 19th. So please, we have items and events that are occurring in this community and our neighboring community. We're all in Will County. Let's make use of tax dollars, especially for this library. Please send your children to it. Thank you so much. Oh, and let me say, Ms. Mary, welcome aboard. I don't see Mr. Chris. I wanted to tell him welcome aboard as well. But again, I'm going to be the first to say a happy Father's Day to all the fathers.
Thank you.
Okay? Everyone be safe. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and trustees. Tonight, Veterans Committee have to do a little house cleaning. So tonight, we will be talking about immediate removal of the liaison for the committee. We will not be able to excel and fail with the liaison in place. Tonight, the committee is being drawn into what I call a political BS, that we have nothing to do with. And the fact that it's being put in the committee, we're not going to be used as a political tool for anybody. My first priority is the veterans, second is the community, and third is the village. So I'm asking for an emergency board meeting according to the Chapter 283 on the University Park Code of Ordinance. Under the Section 2, I am not accepting nothing less than immediate removal. If not, tonight, I will remove myself from the Veteran Committee. I will step down. I will disassociate myself with all of the community activities. But we will not accept nothing less than immediate removal. And if you don't have a copy of the ordinance, I will pass it all out to the trustees tonight. I'm only going to be dealing in facts. I'm not going off no hearsay. So everything I have for the committee and for the trustees would be nothing but facts. Thank you.
Yeah, I guess my question would be, whoever presented, if they can just go across, what did we think need to be changed, presented, how we get to this point, just so that we can be transparent on the discussion.
Yeah, as I go to the other liquor commissioners.
Yeah, it
Trying to get this over. Oh,
popping off. There you go.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Just talking to the other mayors, other liquor commissioners in the area, we just want to ensure that we're getting our fair share and make sure that our fees are in line with everybody else in the surrounding areas and stuff. And just to look at them and see how long they've been at this, and when's been the increase and things, because everything is going up. And this isn't putting anything bad on them, but hey, the village we have to have our fair share too.
Okay.
And one of the things is, I don't see this. Okay, video terminals.
Did we have the old price in there? Or is it, or this is like a breakdown?
Yeah,
It is included.
Oh, 200?
yeah, everything
That's-
was up 200 over around the board, yeah.
40 went from 20 to 40.
Okay.
This is the new.
This is the new, what you got, the proposed new, yes. Yes, ma'am.
This a yearly fee for 6 months.
And see, that's another thing that I'd like to bring into the discussion. We got to do annual fees for liquor licenses instead of every 6 months. It's really cumbersome, and it's bad on us, and it's bad on the vendors too. As long as our fees equal out the same, we get our dollars amount. It would be my suggestion just to go to an annual liquor license instead of every 6 months. Yes, ma'am.
So like people get liquor license different months of the year, so will we just like start January 1st,
No,
or how will we
they all
do it?
kind of run concurrently, like at the end of this month, they all expire pretty much, right?
Only, yeah, because we do 6 months,
Right.
but annually it would be from January 1 through December 31st.
So we pass this, would we start this on January 1st, or how we want to do this?
You got to give up notice, though.
Right.
So I would go starting the new year, January 25, going into the new season.
And that's, I will put that in there because that's not in there now.
Right.
Because I was asking how do you
December 18th.
right, how do you collect the fees? And my understanding is you break this fee down into two.
To 2 payments every
Okay.
6 months.
Because I see that Section 4, if we do, let's change Section 4, because it basically said it, yeah, it should be in full force and effect after its passage.
Well, so yeah,
Change it up, okay. So we got hotels and motels coming? I'm gonna keep riding that out, ain't I?
Speaking into fruition.
Yeah, I don't, I don't have a problem with it, 200, and especially if we given enough notice to
It's almost
January. Yeah, that is, and if you sell liquor, like, what am I saying? The general is, 1,200. I mean, yeah, and then extended hours, that definitely would make sense for its price, for the revenue that one may make on liquor license. That's just my opinion.
Go ahead, Madam Clerk.
And it would make it easier for processing all licenses at the same time.
That's true.
If we have a new business, what do they do? Is it prorated then?
Not alcohol.
I mean, like, say if you have, okay, say January 1st, you start the licenses. And then what if a new business comes in May? Just prorated?
It depends on how many months they're, currently they're paying 6 months. So, but there's no prorated liquor fees.
Okay.
Just when they get in, they just gotta pay.
You got to pay the whole thing?
Whenever they get in,
Okay.
yeah. They better get their timing right.
Yeah, but if they come, say, in May or in November, it would stand to reason that we would charge them for the full year, for 1 month.
Do we need to include that?
We'll look at
And please, so is everybody good with this moving forward? You got
Just a
questions,
question,
Donna?
yeah. For the special one-day license per day, is that always been a amount, or is that new?
No, that's always been like that. Like when they had a picnic or something like that.
Right, I just didn't know, is that something that goes around the other communities? Is that the price, going rate type
Like,
stuff?
yeah, like when they have a festival, some one-day liquor permits and things and stuff like that.
That was my only question.
All right, so,
Yeah, they're usually $50 in other communities.
what y'all saying, make it up, make it 100? What y'all saying?
No, I was saying it was, no, I was saying that I knew it was $50 in most communities.
Okay,
Yeah,
so,
for the one
I just
day.
thought it was kind of low,
yeah.
Right.
a one-day license, and that goes for anybody coming in to
So
sell.
what you saying?
I think it should be more.
You said it should be 100?
I don't know, I just said I think it should be more.
All right, well, all right.
But that's my suggestion, is to increase it. I just
What
don't
you
know.
guys think?
Well, if you're going to make the one day, if the one day, how often?
Just leave it alone, leave it alone. It hasn't
It's
been-
just something
It's,
Yeah, it hasn't been that bothersome or anything, just leave it alone.
it has,
is it normally, well, what do we have that's usually the one day?
Like the back-to-school parade and stuff like that. That's the only time that cars, no, we don't even have one liquor permit for the car show. We don't even do liquor. It be Big Willies, they go in there and drink their alcohol and stuff.
Oh, then let it be.
Yeah, let it be.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
let it be, yeah, let it be.
All right, so y'all go moving forward with this? All right, y'all, okay. So item 5.1B, now, it reads funny, but I'm sure I have a question. This is an ordinance amending Chapter 871, short-term residential rentals of Title II Business Regulations of the Village of University Park Muni Code. So I'll just put it out there. This relates to something that's going on in the community. It's an Airbnb, basically. That's basically what it's related to. But go ahead, Felicia.
But just so you know, you did say. It's on, okay. You indicated regulating it. I did put, because regulating it is simpler, but I did present to you today, it's one that literally is prohibiting them, because and that's what I was saying to you, that in the towns that I've done them in, they prohibit them because they're problematic. Now, Chief may, want to jump in if he has any experience with it, but that's why I did this one, because this would prohibit those those Airbnbs. Now, if you don't want to do that,
Just
and
wanna
you want to
regulate it,
just regulate it, but understand, I'm just going to tell you that now you're going to possibly have another host of problems when you start to have these short-term rentals in your town. Now, I'll just say that, because I feel like I'm obligated to say it because of my experience with it. I don't know if the chief, wants, but I can do, if you want to just regulate it where, we have what needs to be done before you can rent out, no problem. But this one was prohibiting it. Correct.
Yeah, I remember
That's
that
correct.
conversation.
Right.
The whole, my intention is to regulate it, to be no who's who. Now, if it comes down the line when they become problematic,
yeah, I
then we
like
got
that,
to
but let me
adapt and
say
adjust and do something with that. My whole intention was just to have accountability about who's going on and ensure that there's some kind of regulation that they operate under. That's all. Trustee Williams, go ahead. Come on.
Do we have a list of the Airbnbs in our community? I know we have one right by the train
See,
station.
that's the thing. We don't have a list of any of them because there's not a licensing required for it. So a lot of people might be doing it and we're unaware of it as we speak. So we would never know unless we require some kind of licenses. It's almost like the rental properties.
Okay.
You would know who the landlord is to be responsible for it. It was my idea to have that same mind concept to start with the regulation of it, to at least monitor it, especially if it's going on now.
Yeah, could we maybe have an ordinance put in place that those people would have to register so we do know where these properties are and have a better
think we did
understanding?
one.
And also, with him being the, Chief Mitchell being the chief of police, have you had any dealings with those types of situations?
So at my previous town, we had a plethora of homeowners that would rent out for Airbnbs. They would literally decide we can make, especially the larger homes over in like Carrington or Dynasty Lakes, you know, the McMansions, you know, the big 5,000 and 6,000 square foot houses. They would decide, you know, we'll go away for the weekend and rent the house out and make a couple of grand. The problem was because there's no, in the state statute, there's no licensing requirement. Oftentimes, we didn't know until a party got out of control, and then the citizens called. And then when the citizens called, of course, they're upset, and they want to know how come we didn't do anything about it when we literally didn't know anything about it. Because a homeowner can, you or the mayor, whoever can just say, you know what, I'm going to rent it out for the weekend. You know, or I'm going on vacation, I'm going to make my house work for me. And so that was one of the challenges. It was almost like whack-a-mole. Whenever we'd find one and we'd knock it down and get it under control, another one would spring up. And at times, you know, they'd have parties that just got out of control, or not only just out of control, but then, you know, several sprung up on one block, and it just seemed like a whole party block, almost like that movie Project X. You know, at times it just got rough. Yeah. And so any type of rule or regulation to either regulate it or eliminate it, the police department would support, whichever one you decide to do.
And you know, I ran into it because there are some students that are renting, that go to Governor State, that are renting houses in the community. So, you know, let's just be aware, regulate it tightly, and if there comes a problem, we'll just see. But that's the whole intention. Because I ran into two of them by mistake. During election season, I knocked on the door where everybody would like to knock by the tracks. I knocked on the door and asked them, hey, where's Linda? Let me see. Oh, they gone now. This is a so-and-so. We just rent us here for the weekend. And I'm like, oh, yeah, is that right?
Be recognized, Mayor. So I think it was 2018. That's why I was pointing to Madam Clerk to say.
It came forward once before. It never got past the discussion.
Right.
Because the residents came out against it.
Yeah, it was, we were trying to do something, hotel something. I didn't know, I can't remember exactly, but it did cover the you know.
See, it just gives us accountability. It's just like when the tattoo shop came, where there was nothing on books. There was no orders, no rules, no regulations, no medical stuff that they had to be required by, and that's it was from Illinois Department of Public Health. So it's just like getting ahead of the times, because we're growing, we're expanding, we get big, and now the students is leaking off into the community and stuff. You might as well have some accountability, some rules and licensing. You see it, like you say, all over. Yeah. Go ahead, Chief.
Mayor, from a code standpoint, from the fire department, you have to almost treat it like a business where you have an occupancy number, you know, total number of people. A perfect example, Galena does a phenomenal job of maintaining and regulating it. Galena, Illinois.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So we would, if from a code standpoint, a fire standpoint, that's the approach we'd have to take if it's remotely anything we're looking at, because we have to make sure compliancy is there every time someone stays. So we'd have to find out how Galena is actually doing something like that. So it would be huge for us to take something like that on. It can be done, but it's just tough if they're popping up everywhere.
Yeah.
Would there be, in inspections required each time tenancy changes?
Ideally, that's what I would want to see, just to ensure the CO and everything like that. But then,
people on staff, but it sounds good, but I don't know how often it can do. If you got a group that's leaving out on a Friday and you got one coming in on a Saturday morning,
Then you have to think about how this.
I mean, what is the stress that's going to put on your town? Now, with the ones that, and I'll look at Galena's, but the ones that I've done where I've regulated them, they don't have the inspection every time, like after a weekend rental. But if that's something you want, that's going to be burdensome.
I just facetiously mentioned that. I don't think that's something we could actually do.
Then we'll go in the rear, we'll be investing more in that than it's costing us doing the licensing and stuff. And it's supposed to be bringing us in and not flipping it upside down.
But I'll look at
Go
Galena.
ahead, Scott.
So I've done it before where you have a yearly inspection. The same thing for renters. You do a yearly rental inspection, they pay a fee, and they're good for that year. And it really helps because we have found where there were safety issues with fire.
CO detectors, sure.
Yes, so that came in handy, and then sometimes we actually had to use the crime-free to reinforce because there were some situations that happened with the Airbnb where there ended up being some shootings. So I think maybe we can look at doing a yearly inspection, just an idea, yes.
You'd have to have clearly marked exit signs. I mean,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I agree because we already, if a business is at a home, they're already doing an inspection for those businesses at someone's home. So I don't see what the difference would make if we did it according to what Manager Scott just recommended.
Annual fee, just like the home occupancy and stuff like that. I got you, Chief. 1 second, Trustee Thompson.
My concern is that if it becomes what this ordinance calls a public nuisance,
Right.
we're already stretched. The police department is already stretched.
Well, I can tell you one thing. At least we know where the public nuisance coming from, because when that address pop up, you already see it's a rental. It's an Airbnb. It's a rental property, and you'll know. It's like the same thing if you got the bad neighbors that's selling dope and the dogs all the time right next to you. Sooner or later, you get that nuisance law, and you get them to get out of it. I think that's the thing that's fighting in Springfield. What's that, Chief? The crime-free housing bill. That was really, so.
I just think it's worth a lot more discussion to come up with the best practice.
Okay. Chief?
I was simply going to suggest that if the board decides to regulate as opposed to prohibit, that we have sufficient teeth in the ordinance for when the police department comes across a Airbnb that has not been registered with the village, that we could make it as a deterrent, that we could take some action. I would also suggest that any homeowners that want to have their houses registered as an Airbnb and have the inspections, that they be forced or required to have some type of, not signage, but something in the window saying that this house, so it's easily identifiable.
By a sticker or something, a plaque.
Right, by a sticker, easily identifiable by the police officers. So in case we get that call, we're able to, just a suggestion, however you want to do
Because
it.
then you can target somebody that way too. It kind of is a catch-22. But it's a conversation worth having. We can just figure it out. I'm sorry, go ahead, Donna.
You can finish talking.
It's a conversation worth having because it's actually we just being proactive, because you got to think, sooner or later, people are going to really be coming here for these jobs and stuff and back and forth. And they're getting tired of getting back on the commuter train and going back to Chicago. So they'll be looking for destinations and Airbnbs.
More than 30 days.
But
What?
It says more than 30 days.
Short term.
well, but this one though too is prohibiting. But and I know I'm not a board member, but I just feel like I'm compelled to say I don't know about the signage in your window.
Yeah.
I feel like you would be advertising like a hotel. And so if you've got people who just want to party, like for a bachelorette party, like, ooh, that's an Airbnb. They're going down the street and they're like, ooh, go over on this street and you can rent the Airbnb. I understand what your concerns are, Chief, but then I wonder if you're drawing too much attention to I don't know, I'm just thinking that, about that out loud.
I like that point too, 'cause
Yeah.
I wouldn't go for the signage. And then you also know when the people on patrol, they'll know that, okay, if you see an abundance of cars there and activity, well, you know this is a rental for the weekend, because during the week it's dead. Friday and Saturday and Sunday, Friday and Saturday is occupied, Sunday they gone. Donna, go ahead.
Yes, I do think it should be regulated, but I'm not one to prohibit people from being able to use their home the way they want to use their home. That's my perspective. But I do feel that if you want to have your home as an Airbnb, like we were stating, it should be registered. And then also within that, within our regulation, is that if there's any parties that occur, because I know I have family that have Airbnbs. In their language, all their rules have said you cannot have a party at this home. So they have that information out there. I think that's something that the village says, hey, this, if you want to use it as an Airbnb, it cannot be any parties that occur at this home. If it does, then we have the right to take it away. It's something to that extent to say we can't allow you to have it anymore as Airbnb. Some type of penalty, but I'm not for people telling me what to do with my home. If I want to use it as an Airbnb, I'm going to use it, but regulations should be
something in place.
But it has to be where we can say it cannot be used for parties. They have that in their language when they are rented out their homes.
Because I'm quite sure some of the Airbnbs are non-smoking too.
They have non-smoking, they say you can't do this. They have a lot of rules, and I know that's one of the rules that my family member has, that they can't have parties. So, and if they're caught having parties, then they would not be able to.
Right.
So can we say, let's Felicia draft up something, and we'll look at it and let everybody take a look at it and see what we can make out of it? That's look. Yeah. And so what the other thing is, what would be a suggested price for a license?
Suggested price for what?
For a license. What would be a suggested price?
What's the cost for them to get the certificate of occupancy?
$75, $125, it's all different ranges. So I can pull some from surrounding municipalities.
Yeah, probably $100 maybe. Huh? So yeah, a couple $100 or something like that.
Yeah, something like that, but it should be close to whatever the certificate of occupancy is, I would think. I don't know what ours is.
And you know what, not straying off the agenda, but we also need to start, I wish I'd have thought about it as soon as we start to, it's an increase of people with dogs out here. And I don't think they got the tags on or anything. I'm just looking at dogs everywhere. And sometimes the kids that are walking them dogs can't handle the dog. I just see an abundance of animals coming out here. And I know that comes.
Well, we working on animal control anyway. Right, we already passed that.
Yeah. So yeah, we need some form of
Ms. Scott.
Keeping, again, making sure that the first of all step is making sure that they come and get their dog with their rabies shots and get their license and their tags. Then that's our other way of keeping accountability on who got the dogs and the tags. And that's an annual thing too, I think, with the rabies shots and this simple.
I know during the campaign, we ran into dogs on every street. Every street.
Wouldn't want to be no mailman.
They were running in packs. I had to pick up a big stick. Yes, because it was just that bad.
I wouldn't want to be no mailman. And you know, lots of mailmen been bit out here. Lots of them. So yeah, just a little food for thought. So we'll be looking at that stuff that's coming up. All right. So they're going to move it with opportunity to look, review, adjust, and amend, as suggested by the board members after she gives after she being Felicia the template for the legislation.
So we bring this forward.
Yes. Yes. Per language and agreement. Yep. And the last thing is an ordinance amending section 81804 of Title II of the codified ordinance of the Village of University Park pertaining to the license fees for gaming video terminals in the Village of University Park, Cook and Will County. The state only allows us, the maximum on those amusement things is $250. We're at $200, so I just want to raise it the other 50 and max out, and that's it. And that's kind of much regulated by the state. That's the intent on that. So that's what that is. Like,
The last time we raised it, it was in 19, right? Well, no, we passed it in 19, right?
And we haven't raised
We
it
haven't raised it
since because
since.
they had just started that.
we start that video game and stuff. So we'll be maxing it out at, if you guys agree to max it out to from 200 to 250. Yeah, because now they're allowing facilities to get up to 10 machines now. That's additional money plus the revenue sharing that come off the machines to the city all the time.
But that's dependent on the size of.
That's depending on the square footage of the facility. All right, we got presentation Venture 1 TIF 7 expansion. Mr. Good, go ahead.
Mayor, thank you
I
for
don't
giving
think
us
so.
this time this evening. And I have it on a screen here. I think everybody probably see the screen, and I'll walk you through it. Justin is preparing that for us. Justin, just let me know when you get it, because I can't see the screen. Give us 1 second. Okay, is it up? Okay. And I do pay attention and listen to a lot of the board meetings and video. And at a recent board meeting, a comment was made by one of the trustees that, universities should park to look to Moni and how they do their business industrially and how they bring in users to their community and try to emulate what they're doing. And honestly, I hadn't really checked out Moni. They are the largest competitor. I look at the Village of Moni as a competitor to Unispark. We both chase the same deals. We both see a lot of the same deals. And we've lost some to them. We've won some from them. But from my perspective, I had Justin in my office go down and FOIA all of the deals that Moni did recently so that we can know how we compare to what they've been doing. So the Moni TIF map is up there now. Basically, everything in blue and green is their industrial TIF area, which is most of the property west of 57 and some property south and east of 57. Justin, next one. What this shows is that nearly every industrial site that is and has been annexed into Moni is within a particular TIF district, some older, some newer. But basically all the industrial land that they have there is in a TIF district. Next.
That's good.
Now, there have been 5 transactions done recently in Moni, and I'll give you the details in each one. But we have the logos up there as well. On Ridgeland, Reynolds leased a building. On Ridgeland, also Home Depot leased one. We had another building from Michelin, Amazon, and Moni Corporate Center, which is Northern Builders. Each of those participated in some TIF benefits and incentives to the users, and I can go specifically into those because just to say they're in a TIF district doesn't really matter. It's what is Moni doing to attract users to their community versus what we're doing, okay? The next slide specifically shows the original Amazon building that came out to the area in 2017. In this particular case, if you go down to the middle of the page, they split it up in 3 different categories. What part of the increment goes to Moni, that's 20%. How much went to the developer, that's 30%. And the increment passed on to the tenant, 50%. So in this case, 80% of the taxes go to either the developer or the user, and 20% goes to Moni. Now, they did improve some public roads, Manhattan Moni Road, this is Amazon, and they did bring in some public utilities and extended a water main to the facility. I don't know necessarily whether the developer paid for that or the village paid for that, but in this case, approximately 80% of the taxes went to either the developer or the tenant as the user in the deal. On the next deal here, this is the building of 621,000 square feet. The developer was Zfried, the tenant is Reynolds. In this particular case, the increment that went to Moni is 25%, to the developer 25%, and to the tenant 50%. So 25% stayed with the TIF district in Moni, 75% went either to the developer or the tenant. In this case, they did some public road improvements and also extended utilities to the site. Again, I don't know whether or not Moni paid for that or not. That wasn't in the documentation. But what's important is that, they do in their TIF provide 75% to be split between the developer and the tenant and keep 25% in their TIF district. In the next transaction, this is Home Depot. Home Depot was a approximately 900,000 square foot building. This was done in 2019 in their TIF district. In this particular case, they followed the most recent one I just talked about, where 20% goes to Moni, 30% to the developer, 50% to the tenant. They put in some public utilities and public road. Again, I'm not familiar with if the village did it or the developer did it, and utilized a payback from the increment to the developer. And that's going to become important in just a minute. The last one here, might be the last one, might be one more after this, is a building that is 718,000 square feet. This was developed by High Street, real estate developer and investor. Again, they followed the same pattern of 20% to Moni, 30% to the developer, 50% to the tenant, and we can't find any record of any public improvements that were put in for this transaction. So I don't know if the developer just got the 30% for on-sites, but we don't have any public improvements that were done in this particular situation. But the tenant received 50%. The last one is a speculative project. It's not yet built, but the development agreement has been signed, not knowing who the tenants are, but it's a Northern Builders, has several buildings on there for development. And in this particular case, what the development agreement says is that 20% goes to Moni, 30% to the developer, 50% to a potential future tenant. Now, what they did do in this case is they gave a 1-acre land donation to the village for public use, and they are improving Industrial Drive with streetlights, and I think the developer is doing those things and using that 30% from eligible costs to help with that. I want to compare that to what we have in University Park, because I think that it's important to understand what our competitors are doing in Moni and what we've done here in University Park. Understanding that in University Park, our mill rate is probably 50% higher than Moni. So you have to look at what is the user going to pay after the incentive. And that's how we are competitive. If we're giving away 75%, 50%, and our tax rate is $2 and the tenant pays $1, but at Moni they give away 50% and they're paying 50 cents. The user, when they compare University Park to Moni, will look at what am I paying? The percent isn't as important as what the estimated tax is, and then what the benefit is, and then what they actually pay every year. So as you know, we recently completed the Ryerson building. In that particular case, 25% went to the TIF district, 0 went to the developer, and 75% was passed on to the tenant to match Moni's 50-cent property tax that the tenant pays. 50 cents is what the average is in Moni, just giving up 50%. We need to give up 75% to be on an equal basis with them for 50%. What did we do here for the University Park? We improved Craig Park, and we made a 7.6 acre donation to the village for future fire station and possible police station. Okay? The next transaction that we have here is one with Amazon. With Amazon, we have the same exact situation. It's a 1 million square foot building. In this particular case, we have the same 25% going to the TIF district, 75% to the tenant, nothing to the developer. Moni, the developer, gets on average between 20 to 25%. In this case, what did we provide? In public improvements for this transaction, we paid for the traffic signal at Central Avenue and Stunkel, which was needed pursuant to our traffic study, but that was paid for out of this transaction. Again, the developer did not receive any proceeds, as the developer did in Moni. The next transaction, which I'm not sure aware of, is Georgia Pacific. Georgia Pacific, again, 25% to the village, 75% to the user, nothing to the developer, as opposed to what happens in Moni. In this particular case, we as the developer paid to loop the water main between Central Avenue and Cicero Avenue along Stager Road. Because the water main ended at Stager Road and we couldn't get our insurance certificate to provide proper ESFR sprinkler systems for this building, we paid to have the water extension from Central to Cicero as part of our transaction, but did not receive any benefits. That was not paid for by the village. It was part of our transaction. Now, in addition to that, on the next page, we're proud of what we've done here. We installed the traffic signal at Stunkel and Central that we paid for to improve the access and the safety of that intersection. We did utility extensions when we did Georgia Pacific. And by doing that, it looped your system. It connected Cicero Avenue's water system with Central Avenue's water system. They were not connected prior to our connecting it. That makes all of the buildings in your business park and your industrial park safer from a fire perspective because you have a looped water system from Cicero, Central, connected. It's looped. It's better for everybody in the business park. And we could not get our deal done if we didn't do that, and that was about $1 million. And then in the Amazon deal, we looked to the village and said, what do you need from us at this time? Because we're bringing in 1,500 jobs. The comment was, we really need fire trucks and police cars. So we paid for, now it is an eligible cost. We do get reimbursed all the time, but we picked it up and paid, $1 million as a permit fee or impact fee to the village so that you could buy fire trucks to your park, that we're a part of. Next page. When we did do the Ryerson deal, outside of our transaction, we had asked the village, what can we do to make the community better? The ask of us, out of our budget, was to fix up Craig Park. This is not an eligible cost. This is something we put in our budget to make the community a better place. You can see the before pictures. I think we all know what it looked like before. You can see the after aerial satellite photo. We replaced grass, we did the dugouts, we fixed the park. And hopefully the kids here in the community are utilizing a new Craig Park baseball stadium and park. What we've done in the past, and I've been an investor here in University Park since the year 2000. Some of you may have lived here in 2000, some of you not been born in 2000, but the reality is we've been investing here in the community since 2000. When we first invested here, we met with the mayor. We bought 150 acres. We had some land that was not great for industrial, but it was open space. And we said to the mayor at that time and the city council that we can give you for an open space and for a park, would you like to have that? If you don't want it, we can go to Will County, we can go to somewhere else to donate it for open space because we're not going to build on it. And the mayor at that time said we would love to have it. We can set up some picnic tables. There was a lake on one of the properties, a little pond. Maybe we do fishing. So we donated 42 acres of land that would have been something similar to a park district property because there was a large lake on one that you could have put, we said you can put benches and chairs and everything. It wasn't our responsibility after we donated if anything got done. I never really thought up after all these years, but that land is still there. And if appropriate, could be used by the village and some of your constituency that lives here. And then in 2003, shortly thereafter, we had another site that we really did our evaluation and said, you know what, we really can't build on this site. Would you like some more open land for Park District land? The village said yes, the mayor said yes, and we gave that to the village. Most recently, in 2021, the village said that you really would like to have a new fire station and police station on the west side of town. We owned a 7.67 acre property that we have appraised for $670,000. As part of our Ryerson transaction at the time, we agreed to donate that land. Now that is a usable property. That isn't, a Park District property. We could have built a 60 or 80,000 square foot industrial building there right at Governor's Gateway and Bond Street. So unlike the developers in other communities that we really compete with, in Moni, in Crown Point, in Joliet, in all these areas in I-80 for our buildings, as we compete with all these areas, We think we've been a very good community citizen. And we think that we've asked, every time we've done a piece of business here, they're large deals, we've asked, what does the village want us to do to help the village? And we've taken direction from the boards over the years, and we've provided that to the village, okay? We want to continue to do that. Okay, go back to the front. Please go to the first page. So, the reason I'm here, as you can see, every potential site in Monee, and they have a lot of acres left, is in a TIF district. We have one site left in TIF 7, which is the old theater site. We can do one more building at 700,000 square feet, maybe 800 if we get lucky. No, it can't be subdivided because of the access on Cicero. We can't get a second cut. We've got some wetland issues, but it really will be one building of between 600,000 and 800,000 square feet. A little smaller than the other buildings, but still a very nice sized building there, okay? And we want to build that there, and it is in TIF 7. After that, we're done. And I don't know what the village is going to ask for us when we do that building. I'm sure we'll have an ask, and I'm sure we'll agree, as long as it's reasonable, because we want to make the community a better place. What we really want to do is continue to work in University Park and not be stymied and not be able to compete against your number one competition, which is Monee. Okay? So if we want to be as good as they are, should do what they did, which is to take every single property they have in their community that's in an industrial district and put it in a TIF. So they can provide the incentives and have the money for public improvements and also improvements to your community. So if you would reconsider, and I know I've been here a bunch of times, I've been shot down a ton of times, but I'm persistent. I think that it's logical, turn the page, to really think about extending TIF 7 to the east side of Cicero. That would allow someone to use some dollars from the money coming into TIF 7 from Ryerson and Amazon and maybe our future user or maybe a deal we have here, to continue to expand Stager Road from Cicero to Governor's Highway, which any traffic consultant will tell you you should do, not just me. Any traffic consultant, even the ones you've hired, has said that's a high priority. The only way you get that done, in my opinion, unless you want to go into your pocketbook, and I'm not going to go into mine, is to say, hey, we'll extend Stager Avenue to Governor's, and we'll use the money that Amazon and Ryerson is paying into the staff account to cover that. Now, the village can do it. You can take those dollars in your staff account and borrow the money and go extend Stager. Or I've agreed to do it and borrow the money and extend Stager. Because by extending Stager, it puts another 150 acres into play east of Cicero for industrial development. And when we do that, and you'll end up having a retail site on the northeast corner of Stager and Cicero, and you'll have a retail site on the southeast corner of Stager and Cicero. My property sits behind a wetlands, okay, east of Cicero Avenue. So you cannot connect my industrial property to Cicero Avenue easily, okay? So you'll have another, 1 million to 2 million square feet built. When we built Ryerson, you talk about getting fees from your, liquor licenses and stuff at $100 tours. We paid $650,000 for a permit fee to build Ryerson to the village, okay? I don't think the village spent $650,000 approving our plans, okay? We paid a similar amount, or maybe even more, for Amazon and Georgia Pacific. Millions of dollars in permit fees if we're successful in building buildings, in addition to Craig Park, in addition to donating land. So when I come here and I speak to you as someone who's been here for 24 years. I've been through 5 mayors. I've been through a bunch of boards. And I still want to commit my proceeds and my dollars to investing in your community. But in order to do that, I need your help. I can't be not competitive with the number one competitor to the south, and that's the Village of Monee. And as long as they're giving away tax dollars and tips and giving money to a developer, which I'm not even asking for money for me, I'm just saying help my users come here. Give them the benefits so that I can be competitive with Monee and competitive with Crown Point and Maryville, all here on the East 80 corridor. That's what I'm asking. And again, will we be a good turn the page. Will we be a good corporate citizen? I think so. The benefits that we bring by doing this will be future tax revenues without impacting the school capacity, because we don't build residential. We'd increase your job base, direct and indirect, with construction jobs, union construction jobs that come to the area, as well as people that work at Amazon or Ryerson. You know, I can't give someone a job there, but people have the ability to apply and get their own jobs if they're qualified and be trained. We'll increase your industrial commercial tax base, which Monique and other communities desperately are trying to do in today's market. We establish a long-term stable revenue source. I think you've seen it in TIF 5 now that it's expiring, what that's going to mean to the village. It's been 24 years, both with vision in 23 years, you will have 100% of all these tax revenues coming to the village on 3 to 4 to 5 million square feet, which would be similar to what you're getting on TIF 5. Okay? What are the other benefits? You'll see sales tax gross revenue. I bring in another 1,000 or 2,000 jobs, they'll be shopping here. You think Stager and Cicero will get developed with retail if there's no people working in the area to go to those restaurants at lunchtime? I don't think so. I mean, so you'll increase your retail, you'll increase your possible residential here because people want to live near where they work. And also, by bringing in another 1,000 or 2,000 jobs, I would think that governors, university, and the high schools here would love to place their students and their graduates in an industrial, good-paying job. So what's my ask? This is my ask, same as before. We expand TIF 7 east of Cicero to Venture Park 57 East. We will, if you want us to, construct Stager Road from Cicero to Governors at our cost. We will ask that we receive the available staff proceeds from Amazon and Ryerson at 25% to help reimburse us for those costs of building Stager Road, so it doesn't come from the village general account. We'll take the risk. We'll put up the money. We'll build Stager Road. But we get reimbursed from the money that's already coming into the staff account from Amazon and from Ryerson, deals we brought to your community. And finally, we would look to execute a formal development agreement with the village that will allow us to extend Stager and offer up land to potential future users east of Cicero. Our property is not in great shape. We have to build a road, we have to bring utilities. The light there is a good one. But the reality is it's going to be a lot of work and money that we have to spend to get that property ready for development, which we are prepared to do. So, you know, I know you've shot me down a couple times on this. I think that when I heard the note from the last meeting that you want to be as good as Monique, I want you to be better than Monique, and I'm asking you to be that. So thank you for your time. You have to. Which one is that?
Previous board. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh, there we go. The previous board that I sat on before Mayor Rudez, I know we spoke about development right here to be commercial. Now, that didn't happen. I just want to point out the residents that although this has nothing to do with you, but this was University Park hope for some development, and this could have possibly happened. Now, it's up to the rest of the board members on what they want to do, because the understanding when we spoke to residents, they just don't want to see any more warehouses after seeing this. They consider that industrial.
It's Carvana.
It should have been a shopping center.
Well, from my perspective is that I don't sit on your board.
Nope.
Okay.
You don't live here. You don't live here. But you don't live, let me speak. You don't live here. I just got out of a campaign just no more than 6 months ago. The residents, when they see this, the problem they have is if we okay this, they see this and this is a problem on their front door. Now, I will tell you, I like that you want to do something right here. But I'm going to tell you my obstacle is if we give you this, the residents are pissed off about this. And so if you can come up with a solution, we all know that's Carvana.
Let me help you. Okay. Let me help out here. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I speak loud anyway. So let me help you. My job is land planning. We buy 500 acres, 300 acres, 200 acres at a time, okay? If I look at your park, would I have done this? Probably not, but they probably had by right zoning to do this and made a deal to buy it and didn't come to the village, other than the fact that they fit the zoning and it works. So they had by right zoning, okay? Could that have been a shopping center? Maybe. But I will tell you, the shopping centers at 30 and Cicero are failing. So retail is not exactly, big site retail is failing. And I hate to say it, but my tenant here, Amazon, is a part of that. But we all shop at Amazon and we get it delivered to our house and we like that, okay? If I were to look at this and I were to say, what would I like here if I was in your shoes? The best corner for you is this corner, right here. It's at Central and Steger.
That's not terrible.
Yeah, it is. And this right here, Clarius has this, and honestly, you want to be close to the interchange to maybe get a motel or hotel, maybe get someone coming off the four-way interchange and getting gas. We're bringing right here, when I'm done with everything I'm doing here, we'll bring 4,000 to 5,000 employees here. Now, they might come from the east, they might come from the north, they might come off this exit, they'll drive right by your Cicero and go up here. This is the focus that you need to make for your commercial. Here at Steger and Cicero, you're going to compete with Route 30, and it's failing. They got some stores there, but retail, we are tearing down retail centers and building industrial in communities because they're not working. We're buying old retail shopping centers and tearing them down. This corner here, what we have here is, I will agree that this can be retail, and Alan Silverman owns this.
Could they see that NEBA? We want the residents, because this is a discussion. Yeah, here you go, Mark. Yeah, right.
So, yeah, I'm a little wide. So, here, turn this.
I got it.
No, not that, this. So, here. So I'm sorry, trustees, but Alan Silverman's land, there's a piece that sits on the corner, then there's a stream and wetlands, and then there's some land to the east. The corner site is not going to go with the industrial to the east because it's separated by a stream that we can't cross. So the southeast corner, which is a decent-sized site of land there, when you look at it, is a great retail site, sorry. The northeast is a great retail site. We will commit to make that retail. 100%, rezone it, we're good with that, okay? That's where it should go. What will we get there? We probably would get maybe a bank, some restaurants. But I'm okay with that being retail, and I think Alan would be okay with that being retail, but I can't speak for Alan Silverman. He's his own guy, as you know. But from our site, which was all this, you know, we can do 2 million square feet. We can do another Amazon, and we can do another Ryerson there with another 500 to 1,500 jobs. But we can't do it if every time we try to do it, we're going to compete with Moni, we're going to compete with Maryville, we're going to compete with Crown Point, we're going to compete with different areas that have incentives. And I-57 is not as in demand as I-55 and I-80, you know, near Joliet. You know, the intermodals, it's just there's more industrial there. We have to be better. We have to get people here. We have to work harder to get them here. Each of our buildings that we brought here, you know, GP, Ryerson, even Amazon, although they liked us and they came here for us, they looked at it and we competed with 15 different sites. Why did we win? We won because of the vision here to do a TIF here, and we were competitive. And we win. And I want to be winning on this as well. But I need your help. And again, you know, if you work with us and we can get this done, I can see Steger getting built, which will definitely, any traffic engineer will tell you you need. And we can try to do that in the next, 12 to 18 months. But that's up to you. If you say no, then I can tell you right now, we will not get a user here. Your taxes are too high. Your mill rate is too high. You are not competitive. And I'll answer any questions and stay as late as you want.
Right. Well, I appreciate it, but I just, I had to point that out because that is a position. And what I don't understand, Mayor, and we're not going to cry over spilt milk, because at the end of the day, the board before this one passed something for that Amazon to be, or excuse me, that Carvana to be legit. They passed it. So at the end of the day, the board okayed Carvana to be on the front door. And Trustee Brooks and Jenkins Bell did not vote for it. The other, who? That's exactly. She voted for the steel company and Amazon, but she didn't vote for Carvana because by the time the board voted on it, they were doing their thing like it was theirs. And even then, the conversation I had with the old attorneys, when we tried to, or I appreciate it because I was brought into the conversation, was that if some type of commercial development was around the area, residents don't mind development, but they are tired of going to Matson, Park Forest, Moni. We go to Moni. They just want something.
That's the whole purpose. But see, if we don't build the foundation with the creation of the jobs, with the traffic counts, with the things that we need, now we got more jobs than people. Now we got people. So now we meet the criteria. At Recon, just usually, some of them things weren't even looking at traffic count right now because our site maps and our location was just like eye candy to them. So we actually have done our due diligence because if we didn't have that, if we didn't have the people at Amazon, if we didn't have the people at Ryerson Steel, which at the end of the day, that most of them that can retire aren't going to come from 51st Street and on the west side of Chicago, they're going to be looking for housing in the area, and they're going to be looking for places to shop. They're not going to want to commute. Ryerson is a really, really good paying career job. Now we got Samsung at the other end of Central Avenue, which will probably open summer 2024. And so we figured we got the TOD town hall meeting and all that stuff going on. Even at the town hall meeting, the suggestion was to get that road across from Cicero over to Governor's Highway, which we could go over the tracks, but it gives us access, it gives us an opportunity, and we can play in the big game when it comes to industry because, see, we always got that big jump to this Will County side. I'm sorry, Sorry, Alan, but I'm just saying, we take the jump to this Will County side, we can save you some dollars and stuff.
Right, and I respect what you're saying. I respect what you're saying, but since Amazon, and I'm sitting here looking at the data, since Amazon and these jobs, we're still, actually, the unemployment rate went up in University Park. We were lower. We're at 7.1 now. So I get it. I understand. Even the tax rate is still high. The point I want to stick on with us when it comes to saying yes is, with me, I want the voice of what the people have said was on that north end. If we're going to develop, if we're going to develop over there or give Mr. Good tip 7, it better be right. The problem that comes in is we always say yes with a catch to it, such as it was many times I said Amazon is building, and it became Amazon warehouse. It became they don't own the Amazon. It became Mr. Good owned the building. He's leasing it for Amazon. This type of stuff should not be out there. It should be transparent.
I can answer that. Please let me answer it.
Well, go ahead, because I want to say something, because I be having this short-term memory loss, and I want to make sure that I get this off. It's like, and I understand what you, like, the statement you made back at the meeting on Saturday, and you were saying sometimes you have to be that different voice of reason, and vote no on something.
And sometimes the voice of dissent.
And the same thing you said, about 90% of the time.
I vote, yeah, I gave you a yes.
So now, I'm just asking for your support, because I think it's going to be a really, really good thing.
But let Mr. Good answer, Mr. Chair.
Let
Mr.
answer that
let him,
because,
yeah.
you know, just to give you perspective, my company builds large buildings, okay? In the last 8 years, we built, I think, 15 million square feet. That's 15 of those Amazons for $1.25 billion. That's what we do. Most of those, the companies lease them. Why? Because large corporations lease their real estate. Most of the leases are 10 to 15 years. That's just the way it is. Very few companies own unless they're doing something special in the building, and big buildings usually don't do that, and when they do that, they're usually in a further out area, okay? But when we're building our buildings, most corporations ask us for a 10 to 15-year lease proposal. They will, you know, rarely go less, but sometimes they do. I can't finance it if it's much less. So, but I'm happy to be open with the board to the extent that if I have a user, I'm very happy, it's code named, I sign NDAs.
Right.
So this was I think this was Jupiter, I think.
No, that was Blue.
Wait a minute, no, there's Project Condor.
Condor was a bad one. Condor was definitely a bad one. And I had
Sound like some Desert Storm operations.
What was Ryerson? We figured it out. It was River.
River, okay.
Now I'm picking like non-controversial names.
Right.
And colors. But in any case, I can't release the company sometimes. But I'm okay coming to a meeting and letting you know, I can't tell you the terms of our lease, like the rent and everything, but I can tell you if they're going to own it or lease it. I can do that. But I can't give you the terms of the lease because I have competitors. So if I told you the terms in a public meeting, my competitor would beat me by 5 cents and I'd lose the deal. So, but I'm very happy to being open with.
And I would have felt better if you said that same statement to me when we walked in here, and that day I felt like I was the dot on the wall when I went through the questions about the Amazon deal. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
and I seen your face.
I understand.
I said hell no and left,
yes,
because we didn't need a fire truck. Them guys already take care. The fire department always been good about it, but we did need squad cars. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, then go back.
But we were borrowing, Mark. We were borrowing. That was the thing he didn't reveal to the board, and that's when I say that when residents learn the detail, that's when the anger come out.
Well, no, let me tell you something on that one, because we need to understand what happened. I was asked by the village to help with getting fire trucks and squad.
I believe you.
Okay?
I believe you.
And I was asked specifically for $1 million. Okay? Now, to improve this industrial area, to be able to service this industrial area, those become eligible costs for a TIF.
Right,
okay?
right.
I can get reimbursed.
Right.
I had to go to Amazon, because I already cut my deal with them, and say to them, I need another $1 million. Why? We're buying squad cars and police cars and fire trucks for the village. They said, okay, great. And they ponied up for additional money and more rent, because I charge them more rent when they get the money, to do it, and it gets reimbursed. Okay?
Right.
And that reimbursement doesn't go to me, it goes to them. That's the way that deal was cut. Now, I'm happy to let you know that I have a 1 million square foot deal, and it's going to be a lease deal, or it's going to be an own deal. I can do that in the future if that's important. I've always been very open with the board when I can, but if I'm under an NDA, I can't.
Well, I tell you this, Mr. Good, out of all the conversations since I've been up here, since Amazon got started, I appreciate you telling me, and we have talked, I appreciate you telling me, because sometimes it have to be said in the open in order for the facts to come out, you know, because that was not disclosed to me, not from you, but where I feel that the chair or the lawyer at the time should have said when I asked those questions in order to get an honest vote from me. I said it Saturday. When you say yes, 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 something wrong.
Well, sometimes, listen, almost every business park I have has either an enterprise zone or is in a TIF district in order to be competitive.
Right.
And in every single one, one of my jobs in my company is to create code names, and I sign NDAs. It's not easy to come up with those names. The reality is that under that NDA, I can only disclose certain things.
Correct.
What I did do for Amazon is I met individually, I think with every trustee, provided you with the development agreement before the meeting and went over it, and I would have been happy to answer whatever questions I could answer. I think we met on Friday before the Tuesday meeting and went over it. And I would have answered any questions you had and tried to be as open as I could at those meetings. I know a lot of you I met with on Thursday and Friday before that vote. And I handed you the development agreement, so it wasn't given to you the day of the meeting. And I was happy to do that. And I'm happy to do it in the future. Because I'm not going to build 15 buildings here. We're going to build 2 or 3 more. And I'm happy to spend the time with each of you and go over exactly what those deals are, what it means in terms of permit fees, what it means in terms of employees, if I know, and what it can mean for the community, and negotiate a benefit to the
Actually, that was Ryerson Steele, I believe.
Is that right?
Because they're not here no more, but a group of trustees, I guess they went on a tour.
Always voted no for.
They went on a tour of another warehouse.
That was
Amazon.
Right, they went on tour. I didn't go. But by that that Friday, they had to vote. They knew they knew what they were doing, and they voted. And one trustee told me that they didn't care about the terms, they didn't care what the people thought, they just want to say when they're not here no more, people have jobs. But the point is that when you vote for these things, we need to start thinking of the big picture. For some reason, people get on this board and start voting for the right now. And that's what someone told me, because I said, what is it about University Park trustees? They get up here, they start saying yes to things that I know I wouldn't vote yes for. I would work a little bit more before I say yes. That's how Congress is supposed to work, or it does work for certain things. You come together, you give the input. I tell you right now, Monique does it. You want to know why I know Monique does it? Deacon Wilson is Trustee Wilson, former partner who will be chief tomorrow, gets sworn in Country Club Hills. He told me. First thing he said is, I got a $3 million check. So when University Park doesn't see a $3 million check,
I can't address any specific deals.
That's my point.
But the reality is I can address every single deal we do here in University Park.
Taxes, they got it off from the taxes. I'm sorry, Mark, it was from the taxes.
And I'm happy to do it. Obviously, we have rules about how many trustees I can meet with at one time in a private meeting. But
Right.
I'm very happy to devote the time on any deal we have going forward where we're going to come to you and meet with you privately ahead of the board meeting, answer any questions there, and present appropriately at the board meeting. I want to continue to build buildings here and do good by the village, but I think that in order to do that, we have to be like Moni and industrial land that you have here in the village.
I agree. We need to be like Moni, collaborate, communicate, and compromise.
I agree.
That's what we need to do. And like I said, it was from sales tax. They received $3 million from sales tax.
Right.
University Park, we're not seeing that type of revenue.
Well, sometimes you have an industrial building that sells from their building, and there can't.
Oh, they got theirs right away, Mayor. Right away. Right away. And that's what University Park is in dire need. So I'm about to yield my time, but Mr. Good, I just want you to know, I know every time you come, sometime I have something to say, because I know that's...
I'm getting used to it.
But my point is that I wanted you to know that in the community, the complaint is that just understand the position of some of the trustees is that Carvana, and then when you turn and you looking back north, if we give something, if we move forward with something, they really want to see commercial development, because it should have been done a long time ago. And people can give all type of excuses. They can say what they want to say. But at the end of the day, when a comment is made that I know it feels uneasy, but you'll get used to it, and residents remember that comment, it goes a long way.
I agree 100% with you.
Yeah.
Listen, I can't be successful in a community that doesn't have residential growth and commercial growth. My tenants need to go shopping. They need to eat lunch. They need to get something delivered. Now, I can't tell you where the best location is for that because I'm not a retail developer. I only do industrial. But I will tell you this, the more businesses you bring here, the more jobs there are, the more chance there will be that there will be residences being built and apartments being built because people want to live close to home at $5 a gallon for gas. So, to the extent that we have 5,000 new people here in the last few years, they don't all want to drive 30 miles to get here. They'd like to live nearby. So, and that will happen, but it doesn't happen overnight. And again, we should be so proud of what we've done here in the last 5 years. We've built 3 million square feet. That totals $400 million of construction. That's not a small amount of construction and not a small amount of future taxes. And again, 25% of those taxes go into a staff account that the district gets to use for whatever they want to use it for. And that could go for, police cars and fire engines and things like that are necessary, or a new fire station. So, you can add it up. All I'm asking for is I'm looking for your help so we can be successful together. And I understand that you need to have more information up front. I'm very happy to continue to meet with people before a deal gets approved, go over all the details, answer any questions, but I do need your help because I cannot be successful if we don't expand.
Mark, we got Trustee Fulcher.
Yes.
Were you done, trustee? Okay. So I didn't receive a packet or information, and I wasn't able to see all the different slides.
I didn't hand it out. We have copies for you here.
Okay, I would have liked to have it before the presentation.
Let's hand them out now.
So I couldn't follow along with everything that you were stating.
I understand.
So I would have liked to have that information ahead of time to view.
Yeah, well, I didn't hand it out because I'm used to people like me flipping to the back page before you get to the first page.
No, well, I look at it, so.
I knew it would be controversial, and I said if you really asked during my presentation, we would have handed them out. But the reality is that I really wanted to present in a way that you can understand our number one competitor here in the area is Moni, and I want to be really, really aggressive in pursuing deals against them.
Okay, which is fine, but I couldn't follow along because I didn't have anything to follow along with.
And please go through it. I'm happy to stay and answer any questions.
Okay, other thing is, how many TIFs does Moni have? districts?
It's in there. I think they have 5 total, and it includes all of their industrial land. I gave you a zoning map.
Okay, like I said, I didn't get it.
And you can overlay that zoning map on the TIF map, and it's every property that's zoned industrial is in a TIF.
Right. So University Park has 7 TIF districts.
Yes.
So University Park has supported TIFs
Yes.
over the years, the decades. So that's not something that we have not done. We have more TIF districts than Monique. So we are working with our developers and also for the companies. Before we stated that we did not want any additional TIFs. We didn't want to extend it. We didn't want to move over to the other side of Cicero. That was going to be used for something else. So that's why even with the Carvana, it's not in a TIF district. The last TIF district was TIF 7.
Yeah.
You still have a piece of land that needs to be developed over there, which you stated. That's something great. It's still something that can come in. But on the other side of Cicero, it's not something that we wanted. We said we wasn't going to do any more TIFs. Yeah. And I think that our village can support businesses coming in without having to be within a TIF or get any type of incentive in that manner. So I'm not for us having to have industrial buildings on that side. I think we have a big industrial park that houses a lot. We have industrial buildings that right now that might be empty, that could be filled. And we have a spot that you still have that needs to be fulfilled. And also, as for us paying for the road to be built, I don't think that's something that we should be having to do for something like that. Also, for the Amazon, yes, you did give $1 million, but that was $1 million of a loan. For Craig Park that you mentioned, you said you spent in from before $500,000, and anybody in this community can see $500,000 was not spent at Craig Park. So the things that you state, not to say you didn't do it for the other ones back in the day, I have no idea about all those deals. You said a lot of that in here, which I didn't have, so I can't relate to or go over it myself to see. But as for extending the TIF, I don't think we should.
Well, let me say this, and I think that what I wanted to do is I listened to one of the board meetings where the comment was that we want to be as successful in industrial as Moni has been, and I went to Moni to see what they do. And the companies that have moved into Moni from Home Depot and Michelin and Amazon, they pay about 50 cents a square foot in taxes after their 50% TIF benefit, okay? Your taxes are significantly higher than Moni's because your rate for your village is the highest in Will County. Yep. So you pay a lot of taxes here to be in an industrial building. And our industrial buildings without a TIF would be at $2 a foot. So if we can get a 75% benefit to them, they pay the same 50%. But Moni's are only $1 a foot. So right now, if someone's looking at Moni or looking at University Park, they're gonna pick Moni and I will fail. No matter how good I am, I will fail. Because they'll look at that and they'll say, why should we pay twice the amount of taxes to be in University Park than we would if we were in Moni? So we'll fail. And we won't build another building. And if we don't build another building, then we don't pay a permit fee of $500,000 to $1 million. And when we do a TIF, that doesn't mean you're giving up 100% of the money. 25% of the taxes go into the staff account that University Park controls for improvements to the village. So if I sit here for 10 more years without going into TIF 7, I can do it. I don't want to do it. That would be non-productive for you or for me. You get a few $1,000s for taxes I pay on farmland. There's no more jobs. And Moni will continue to annex land in and continue to add more TIFs. So, I mean, that's, or someone else will, whether it's Frankfurt on the west side or someone. So all I'm saying is I want to be competitive. I'm not asking for any special favor.
And that's fine, that's fair, but you're acting like that this can't be done unless you have a TIF.
It can't be done without
This is your land, and you can work on deals, just like with Carvana came, they came without a TIF. So they were able to do it. This is your land. You can shop out the land, as to say. I don't know if that's the term, but you can look for the companies or industrial buildings or developers to come, you could do that. You're acting like the only way you could do it is between University Park have to extend the TIF and also pay for the road. And that's not something...
University taxes are twice the taxes of almost any other community in Will County. That's just the way it is.
Say it again?
University Park's taxes for your constituents in town right now are about double what it is for the same valued house anywhere else in Will County. The reason for that is that, there's reasons, but I won't go into them, but the reason for that is they just are. Your mill rate is that much higher. I can prove it, I can show it to you in another presentation. Because of that, I am significantly not competitive with any property in Will County, even the ones that are not in TIFs. So in order to be competitive with this, I cannot be successful and I will not sell this land. The land price is not relevant. What my land value compared to the TIF value is a small percentage of it. The company, you look at Amazon, they built 1 million square feet, their taxes will be $2 million a year, maybe a little more. So they save 75%, that's $1.5 million, but the staff account that you control, that you benefit from, is $500,000 a year. My taxes I'm paying on my property right now as farmland, it's probably $7,000. So if I'm not successful, you'll get $7,000. If I can build another building for you, you'll get $500,000. I don't understand why we wouldn't build more buildings. $500,000, $700,000. That's just the math. You're giving a benefit to a company to come here to employ people from the area. Not to me. I don't get a penny of it. I get to do a deal, and I get to be successful. That's my business. I'm a capitalist. That's my business. I'll make money. I'll be successful. If I don't build here, I'll build in Crown Point. I'll build in DeKalb. Okay. But the reality is I want to build more buildings in University Park. I've been here for 24 years. We've done a lot of good things together. But I'm telling you the truth. The reality is that your #1 competitor is giving away 50% of their taxes to their users to attract them to their town. I just want to be on the same footing as they are.
When was the last time Monique had another company come in other than Amazon?
Monique?
Yes.
They've had 4 companies, Home Depot, Amazon, Reynolds.
After Amazon?
Yeah, they had Home Depot. These are all 2017 to 2019 deals after they expanded their TIF.
Yeah, and University Park has had several.
Oh, Amazon Monique or Amazon here?
I said, I'm talking about in Monique.
Yeah, Amazon went to Monique and they got it. I have to go to the page where the page of the benefits. I have to walk over here. I can't see.
I'm just stating that University Park is just as attracted as Monique.
Yeah, here. So what I'm saying to you,
I cannot see over there, so sorry.
Laid out for you. We voided this information. On this deal, they pay about 56 cents in tax. That means that their taxes are about $1.12 a foot. Okay? Our Amazon building, our taxes are going to be $2. Why? Because your mill rate's higher. So when you go to our Amazon building at 75%, they'll pay about the same 50 cents or so. But they'll be competitive. Okay? So this is what happens here. And this deal was 2017, and it went into a brand new TIF area. This deal was done in 2023, again, in the new TIF area. Again, their estimated taxes here are 35 cents a square foot. Why? It's more of a warehouse. We can't get that low. We're higher than that, even at 75%. So I can't be competitive with 35% tax unless you gave me almost 100% of the tax. Our tax rate is that much higher than we started. I mean, that's the way it is. The next deal, they're all recent deals, 2019. New TIF district, Home Depot, their taxes are 62 cents a square foot, based on how it was, appraised. So, we want to be competitive with the Home Depots, with the Amazons, with the Reynolds. These are big companies, and they have real estate departments. And they look at this and they say, where can I get the best incentives and be located in this area? And as long as there's land on me, I have one site. I can do 800,000 square feet. I'm happy to do it. But what I'm saying to you is that if I have 1 million square foot user, or 1,100,000 square foot user, they're going to go somewhere else. Because I can't put them on the theater site. It's not big enough. But I can put them east of Cicero Avenue. I'll be happy to meet with you and tell you everything I can that I can disclose about the size of the building, incentives, the number of jobs, to be able to look at it and say, does this make sense? I'm happy to be open with that. I can only do as much as the company will allow me to do, but I'll be happy to do it.
I just wanted to say that University Park, again, has had 7 TIF districts, and that's more TIF districts in a lot of communities. And that is not something that we wanted to continue on. That's something we said we didn't want to extend or have any new TIFs. So after that, I yield my time. If anybody else have any comments.
And I'm not asking for a new TIF. I'm just asking to expand TIFs.
I'm talking about extending that TIF is also making it basically a new TIF. You're crossing over, creating a whole nother area. Yes, you are. That's what it is. It's crossing over to Cicero because on that side of the street, there's no TIFs.
This is the land here.
No.
Right.
And trust me, it doesn't create a new TIF. And just for the record, we've been so responsible. TIFs are great.
Speaking to your mic.
TIFs are great economic tools if used properly. It's not like since I've been the mayor, okay, we used to do the village, the last big TIF we did at Clorox, yeah, was 90% of the increment, and the village got 10%. Now we are getting 25%, in some instances 30%. We're not even extending it to 23 years anymore. I don't even think we've done, 17, 18 years is that? So we've cut the terms, we've cut the revenue, and people don't understand that the money that they saying is our opportunity, it's the increment in the TIF. It's not like it's coming out the general fund. It takes care of itself. So when there's a reimbursement done, it's done out of the village's increment on the payment plan or however it's done, and never comes out the general fund. So we're using our asset the way we should be using it to get some of the things that we need out there. And that's what the whole idea of the TIF. Now, if the TIFs aren't done responsible, it's like, for instance, I'll say since we're out of 5 now, Clorox was one of the most screwed up TIFs whatever because they had so many non-TIF eligible expenses on there that were in tens and tens of millions of dollars, and we paid that job for 23 years. So TIFs are good, but that's what I say when it's a responsible TIF, when there's accountability. When they signed off for those checks, when they was coming for their benefit, there was no check and balance to see that was this an eligible expense or did it match up? No, it was just sign off and it was done deal. So I think that we've all been better as far as that goes because we're not giving up a 90-10 thing. We almost get to the point where we'll be a 60-40, but if those tools are utilized right, we will get our restaurants and other things like that. We're on the right path, but let me get Trustee Thompson.
Hold on, but just the response for that last TIF, it was supposed to be as termed to be at 17, but it still ended up at 20. So that's not true.
I can comment on that. By law, in the state of Illinois, TIFs are 23 years.
I understand.
That's how long they are, okay? You as a village can decide how much of a term you want to provide as an incentive to a user. So what we've been doing is providing a 15-year benefit. That leaves 8 years on the back end. When that 15 years is up, you get 100% of the taxes into your staff account for use in the TIF area or for other things you need. So you make a decision of the term of the TIF that you're going to provide to a user for incentives, and that can be anywhere from, 10, 12, 15 years, depending on how much you want that user to come here. Our last agreement was we are circling no more than 15 years. It went a little longer for Amazon because of some costs that Amazon paid for the benefit of the village to recoup that. So the reality is that our agreement that we signed for TIF 7 is a general agreement as a model is 15 years with 75% going to the tenant, nothing to us as the developer, and 25% staying with the village.
TIF 7, Trustee Brooks, you was here. From my understanding, TIF 7 did not have a term of 15 years.
No. What was presented that day was 17 years.
It was presented 17, and then what was finalized to me...
20-something.
From my remember, it was 20.
20-something, yeah.
So...
Ryerson is 15. Ryerson was 15, I believe, and Amazon was 17. The TIF.
Well, you know what,
by laws-
that's more on something that I could review with the village manager, but that's not something from what I remember by coming to the board meetings and looking at the contracts. So that's something that was said, but I know sometimes it was presented, but the final thing was something different. So I understand the terms, I do understand all of that, but it's for the extension of it going on the other side, extending the TIF is not something that we said we wanted.
I agree with what you're saying, and I will make a commitment that before you vote to pass any TIF for any future deal, we'll come and present the exact terms that will be in the agreement, and you should have a right to vote on it. You know, it's only a model agreement. Once you put us in the TIF, we have to still come back to you to get the development agreement signed. And if you don't approve the development agreement, it doesn't get done. So I'm at your mercy. You know, all I want to do is get the land into the TIF area so that after it's in there, I can come to you and say, we have this user, it's this many jobs, we'd like to offer them 15 years. You can say no, or you can say yes. I'm not going to ask you to, you know, commit to it now. You can commit to it when we have a user. And you can decide what you want to do. But at least we're in the TIF so we can have that discussion.
I made a, oh, okay. I just want to make a, Mr. Good, I was the trustee that have made the statement that Monique was competitive. And I was specifically speaking about the commercial side of it, meaning that, again, when your wife is out and about and we're ready, we need some food, University Park doesn't have any major restaurants or anything of the sort, and in fact, they have a bank over there, they have KFC, they have hotels, they have all these things. And the residents want to know, why is it that we can't receive those same things? So when I made that comment, I just want you to know that it didn't have anything to do with industrial. I clearly know that on the industrial part, we dominate. I believe right now, if we expand it, you'll fill up that area. I know, because right now, I just scroll right through the internet. It's high demand. Manufacturing in America is on high demand. So, you know, the point that I was making was commercial-wise.
And I think, you know, I've been down here 24 years. And when I first used to come down here, there was no entrance at Stunkel, right? You had to get off at Manhattan-Monee Road. That was the only entrance. And so you got off at Manhattan-Monee Road, you went over to Central Avenue, and you drove north. And if you wanted to leave here and go north, you go to Cicero, and you go up the Sauk Trail, and you go back to 57. That's how people got around this area. So they have a 30-year head start by having those truck stops there 30, 40 years ago, having that commercial there, having that set up that way. And it didn't happen overnight. I've been coming, you know, for all the years I come down there was this guy, then there wasn't, all of a sudden then there was a Burger King, and then there was a this or a that. And it continues to grow there because they started 30 years ago, 40 years ago, because that was the only interchange. Now you have Stunkel. Let's take advantage of that. I want commercial here, but it has to be in the right place. And by the way, I don't know necessarily being on Cicero Avenue on the west side of town is the right place for a grocery store. I'm not in the retail business, but I think it should be more where your people live. You know, it should be off of, Governors some way. I mean, I think it should be east. Yeah, but I mean, but if you have people working in the community, moving to the community, building more apartments, the retailers follow that, and they want to be here. So I mean, the way to get them is by going out and saying to them, hey, we've got 20,000 jobs in our business park. We need people to live here and shop here. That's my only thought there. So.
Mayor, may I be recognized? Okay. So since we have so many questions, Mr. Good, I'm sorry. But since we have so many questions, this needs a different kind of discussion, I think. And since this item on the agenda was previously tabled, I want to make a motion that we table this indefinitely.
You can just say
Nothing to vote.
I concur.
It just needs a different kind of discussion.
What kind of discussion does it need?
It needs to be more in-depth. And then we already said we weren't interested. So, I mean, how many times does it have to keep coming up?
Because I just don't want us to fail the residents because we're not thinking out here. I support it. I'll just be out front like that. I'm not going to stunt the growth of this community. I'm willing to make these hard decisions. I'm just looking for three others who just want to move this community forward because we don't want to stagnate. You got to have some insight and thought. But everyone's entitled to their opinion.
Yes, we are.
This could be a big victory for everybody, but you know what?
We have to be careful, Mayor.
You know what? Listen, study long, study wrong. That's just the time, the trial, even when they're recon, they're not building malls, Woodfield stores, they building strip malls with 3 to 5 stores at the most of them, little small stores, a T-Mobile or a Starbucks and a pizza place and a vitamin store.
That's what we wanted. That's what
But-
we wanted.
But Mayor,
But I understand that one is one thing, reality is another
We
thing.
need it. No, I'm sorry. We do. We
Wait,
need it.
wait,
But listen,
wait.
I've been here only 30 some odd years. I've been on this board 17 years. This is the most activity that I've seen in the history of this doggone village as far as achieving some of them goals we got. Because it doesn't seem like anybody was ever afraid. Everybody was afraid to make the sacrifice, to make the hard decision to get us in this position. How was we going to get them things? We didn't even have no jobs, no foot traffic, no restaurants, no hotels. Now
Mayor.
we got the opportunity for cannabis, restaurants, Quick Trip. All these things is making our registers ring. I'm not here.
can I throw this out there? So, I want strong, ironclad assurances that it's going to benefit the residents. I can't go off of like first it was $1 million was given, then it turned into a loan, then it turned into a loan with interest. Hold up, I'm still talking. And then Amazon had to pay it back, and then that's kind of, I want assurances that this will benefit the community because that's what I'm sitting here for.
See, yeah. And see,
I've been saying
the thing about it is, I've been here. No one ever sat down and asked me because I've been here from 05 to all the way now. I know probably a whole lot of stuff. Answer to your questions. And no one
succeed,
never has
just suicidal search. That means they ain't going yet.
That
So
you hear and
just wait and
say
see.
is perception, but perception is not the truth.
But it is reality for the resident.
But the truth, and it's for us, I think, I think to take care of what we got to do right now with us, because it shouldn't be us. We should be planning.
You know, I was just thinking, Mayor, that I understand what you're saying, but you can do both. This is not an either or. If you do our TIF here and we bring in another 1,000 jobs, that's not where the retail is going to go. But you can use our TIF proceeds, you can use our staff proceeds that we bring in from these buildings to improve a property where the retail would go. And you can make it more competitive. So it's not like one or the other. It can be both. And that you get more jobs, you get more revenue, you get more taxes. You take those dollars and you say, we hire a consultant in the retail business, it's not me, who will come and look at your community, pay him a few $1,000s or her, and say, where should we put the retail? Why would it be here? And you get a consultant that does that and tells you it should be here. And they'll tell you where it should go based on traffic and everything else. But you can do both.
Okay, I just want to say, I know haste makes waste, so I think we do need to review things, and we need to hear, from the residents as to what they really want.
Yes.
I think the 7,000, that's a low amount we're getting. If we can get, what was the other amount?
500.
So that needs to be looked into. I got this packet because I did meet with him, and I remember Fulcher, I think you were invited. Yeah, that was, you didn't attend, but I did attend. We met up here, and he did go over quite a bit of information. I still have questions. I still want to review it. I don't want to vote something and not know all the facts and make sure that people understand this versus this. I think we should give that opportunity to the residents. Maybe we should have even invited them so they could, comprehend and look at what we're seeing and let them make a sound decision. I don't always think these people should make all the decisions. I would like to have more input from them as well. And let's not permanently stop something that could be a good thing. I think that would be a terrible mistake. So I think we should keep it open.
I understand that.
And everything.
We're doing a development in Crown Point, and we had 140 residents come up and complain about our development. And we did a town hall meeting. And they came to the town hall, and we listened to their thoughts. And we changed our plan to help them understand what we were doing with lighting. And I'd be very happy to have a town hall meeting with residents, bring in some donuts, coffee, whatever we want to do, and have them come, and we can present our thoughts, and they can make comments. And I'm open to that. Because I know this makes sense.
Yes,
and I think if the
appreciate
residents really
that.
understood it, they would understand the jobs and the taxes and everything.
Right, because we may have heard from a few people.
And I'd be very happy to do that.
Right, we may have heard from a few people campaigning. That's not everybody. I think we need to get as many people as we can to come out, let them know your ideas, your tactics, what you're saying versus Monique versus us, what you're paying now, what we can gain. Let's look at all the options before we just close the door and say, oh no, we don't want that.
I'm very happy to do that.
That's
I have
terrible,
no problem
and I don't want to go that route.
Setting it up on a night that you think is an appropriate night that the most amount of people would come out.
Right.
September, and you good with that. We're not going to do too much over the summertime. We start back in the fall session, get you right on the agenda. We get the background and the people that are here. Let's do it.
And I'm happy to do it as not a formal meeting, just do a town hall meeting and bring as many people as you want. All right, no problem.
So real quick, and I'll tell you, these are just discussion items, but the intent was, I don't want to put it out there because of what's going on in the court. And we don't know who's listening or whatever, but the intent is to ensure that we get our fair share on new construction, new development, as far as this conversation. And I just don't want to put it out there in a public atmosphere.
Okay.
When me and Trustee Fulcher went to Recon, we met this wonderful gentleman, I mentioned him before, from Georgetown. And he was telling us a lot of good nuggets. And one of the things was housing. He said, you all are a college town. You need more rooftops. Because when you get the rooftops and the people coming in, that's where the retail, that's where all this development is going to make sense. He said, but you got to get the people to move to your community. It's got to be inviting. So those are the things that we need to be working on and looking at the whole projective, not just being closed-minded and say, oh, no, I don't want to. No, we got to do a town hall meeting. Let's hear from the residents, just like we're going to do the town hall meeting for Aqua. Everybody come out, everybody gets to discuss, everybody gets an explanation, and then we can move forward. I just don't want to be the one to say no or yes, and then find out later it was a mistake. I just want to bring everybody together and let's try and get this show on the road. That's the way I felt about it.
Gina, I was with you guys too when we met him. Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Janelle was with us too, and we were talking with different, yes, because she was with us, the three of us. It was me, Fulcher, and Trustee Janelle, and we went around to all those businesses, and then we had discussion, and it was that one place where I got tired and decided to sit, and the Lord sent that man there, and I'm telling you, he opened our eyes wide. So if I didn't take nothing else from it, I took his information. Yes, yes, absolutely. Look, I just haven't posted though.